If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have the reigning defending CES heavyweight champion Greg Rebello back on the show. Returns to action January 24th, a little over 2 weeks' time, defending his title against Tebaris Gordon in the co-main event of CES 60. Greg, how are you, man? It has been a minute.
I know, it's been a long time, man. I'm good. Things are going really well.
It's good to hear. This is some exciting stuff, right? Back in the cage in Lincoln, Rhode Island, defending your title once again. It's a nice way to kick off 2020, right?
So what's better than that, man?
Absolutely. I think we need to see you fight after that Patriots game on Saturday. I mean, good Lord, it was a bummer for sure. I will say that I'm not buying into the end of the dynasty talk just yet. I mean, I read Brady's post on social media earlier this morning. He didn't say anything specific, but my takeaway is he does plan on coming back and doing it again as a Patriot. What do you think?
No, I agree. He's not done. Brady's one of those guys who doesn't want to end on a bad note. So I think he's the type of guy he's going to do it until the wheels fall off. And I truly believe that you're going to see some changes in the offense. They're going to try to get some big weapons in there because obviously that was, in my opinion, the missing key. They just couldn't put points on the board. I mean, if they could put some points on the board, they would have won that game last week. So I think he's going to give it another go, hopefully.
Do you think they should have kind of wavered off the normal Patriots way and kept Antonio Brown? I mean, obviously it was working. They only did it for like a game or two, but I mean, once he was gone, clearly there were issues, but not the greatest guy in the world.
True, but there's also a lot worse guys. I mean, if Tyreek Hill can have a job and play in the playoffs this week, I'm pretty sure Antonio Brown should be able to. So yeah, I think they should have kept him.
I couldn't agree more. But at the end of the day, we can't complain all that much, right? I mean, the Celtics are killing it, the Bruins are killing it, the Red Sox.
Listen, we made it to 3 Super Bowls in a row before the year, and people are still complaining.
I know.
I'm one of them, so I should shut up. Yeah.
Yeah, the Red Sox are kind of scandalous, reportedly. I mean, yes. Boston sports still in a good place, right?
Oh, very. I'm going to the Celtics game tonight. We're in a good place.
Oh, there you go. When was the last time you've been to a Celtics game? Is that something you do often?
Yeah, so Sean Grandy, the announcer, is a buddy of mine, and he takes me to a few games, every year. So I go to a lot, to be honest with you, anytime that I can go. So tonight I got the night off of training. I've been ripping it. So a few of my coaches were like, "Listen, take the night off. Like, you don't want to overdo it. We're a couple weeks out. You're already sharp and in good shape. So go enjoy yourself." So I'm gonna go to the Celtics game tonight.
Maybe Grandy could put you on the broadcast tonight.
It's true.
So January 24th, you're back in the cage. It's going to be like old times, right? I mean, you get Matt Bessette fighting on the same card with you at Twin River Casino. I mean, it's a little bit of nostalgia here. I know Matt's very excited to be on this card with you once again. CES tends to load up these January cards. How excited are you to be kicking off the year for CES and sharing the card once again with the fellow New England MMA OG like Bessette?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that Matt Bessette and I have been doing this together for a long time. Like, we were on cards together for Kip Collar for Reality Fighting back in, I think, like 2006, 2007. So we've been on the same card for a lot longer than people realize, So we've been doing this back in Plymouth, Massachusetts is where we started, and we're still continuing to do it in Lincoln, Rhode Island. So it's pretty cool. Matt's a good buddy of mine, and we've been fighting alongside another, on the same card for a long, long time. So it's cool, man. It's important to me. I love it.
There's been a lot of talk surrounding you over the last couple of years where every fight is sort of positioned as potentially your last fight. And I know the last time we talked was right before your Contender Series fight in 2018. And you told me, in essence, win, get in the UFC, or this is probably it for you. Now, you ended up announcing your retirement, and then 13 months later, you're back in there knocking out Kevin Haley. What changed for you?
I think that the biggest thing with me was injuries. When I fought Travis View, I broke my hand in half, my left hand. And, I was on the couch for months. I've been talking about that with somebody else, and I just put on a lot of weight. And obviously when you can't train, I hurt my hand and my knee. So I was sidelined for a while. So I didn't, I was in shape to fight Parisian, but I was way too heavy. I just didn't get, I didn't get as long of a camp as I wanted. Not that it matters, but, I was just more frustrated than myself. I just came in out of shape. I think I was 260. I'm probably 240 right now. So I'm a lot lighter and in a better shape now than I was then. So for me, I took the year off, and I just got my body back in shape. I got myself back in shape, and obviously I kept training, and a lot of my coaches were like, "Dude, you you're still the best guy around here, like in the heavyweight division. Like, just keep going. You know, I'd rather see you go out and win. And you know, when I decided to fight, obviously they gave me Kevin Haley, and I said I wanted to defend it 2 times. I wanted to do 2 more fights, and here we are, man. This is the second one. So
this is it.
Listen, I'm never gonna say this is it. Listen, in 13 years, when I'm 50 years old, you could call me and ask me, and I still think I'd be able to get in there and beat everybody up. That's just my mentality. You know, so it's almost like, what else left do I have to prove, really? You know, I've had a good long career. I've fought on all the big shows. Ideally, yeah, do I want to get the UFC? Yeah, sure. You know, I came up short, and that's all right, man. That's a part of the game. But I have a good roster of guys that I coach. You know, Calvin Kattar and Randy Costa both have fights coming up, and you know, I really like helping these guys out. You know, I think that's the next big step for me, and yeah, you know, I don't know. We'll see what happens, sir.
Randy's getting back in there.
He is. We're looking at hopefully in March. Calvin Kattar just signed March 7th.
Yeah, I saw that.
Steve. And we're working on Randy right now.
Nice. So in terms of your fighting career, it's safe to say you're taking the Bill Belichick approach to things right now, fight by fight, take it one fight at a time onto this one, and then we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
Pretty much. You
Nothing
know,
set in stone.
Yeah. I'm never gonna say that R word again.
There you go. It's a break. It's a break. It's not a breakup. It's a break.
This is true.
There you go. So now you get Tebaris Gordon in a little over 2 weeks' time, a fellow Contender Series alum. It's been a little while since we've seen him compete. The last time we saw him fight, he was getting knocked out by Greg Hardy in 17 seconds. How do you like this fight from a stylistic perspective? Because to me, on paper, this has the makings of a stand-up war with violent repercussions.
Yeah, no, that's the way I look at it too. Tebaris is more of a striker, so aren't I. You know, we both kind of went on our shield on the Contender Series, but yeah, you know, it's going to be a good, fun, exciting fight. You know, there's not really much film on him. I mean, you can't really take much away from the Greg Hardy fight, but what I've seen of him, you know, he likes to stand up and fight. He's a pretty big athletic guy, and yeah, that's what I like, man. I like the stand-up challenge, so I'm excited.
You mentioned the coaching, working with guys like Font and Kattar and Costa and many others. How gratifying has it been for you from a coaching perspective to have an impact like that, to see some of the tools you've implemented lead fighters to success? That has to feel pretty good, right?
Yeah, you know, I'm lucky, man. I've had a lot of, you know, some of the best coaches in the game, you know, help me out. So it's kind of like I've taken a bit and piece from each guy, and it's kind of helped me develop my own style, you know. So it's pretty cool to see that, you know, some of the methods that I come up with as far as the striking goes is working, and it's paying off, and these guys are winning big fights in the UFC. So for me, it's, you know, Randy Costa's last fight, you know, at the TD Garden, and Calvin Kattar winning the Garden. Those are probably 2 of the best moments of my MMA career. I mean, I think that I enjoyed those more than me winning fights. You know, it was pretty awesome.
Do you feel like you're a better coach or a better fighter?
I'm a better coach. I was always definitely a good fighter. I'm definitely a guy that could compete in the UFC, but I'm never going to be a top guy. That's just a fact, and I'm cool with that. That's the way, you know, that's just the truth. But as a coach, I just feel like I can get guys to the elite level. You know, I've coached Brennan Ward. I got him to the Bellator world title. You know, I got Calvin Kattar right now, who's a guy that's, you know, in my opinion, he's going to be fighting for a world title within the next few years. And Randy Costa's still young, and he's still got a long way to go, but the kid's skill set and, you know, talent-wise, I think he can beat anybody. He's a tough matchup for anybody. So I'm just getting started. One
of the big talking points heading into that Boston card, and I'm glad you mentioned that, was talking to Lozon and talking to Costa and Bokniak and other guys like that. A lot of talk about the Saturday sparring that goes on at Lozon MMA. Talk about, from your perspective, what Saturday sparring is like at Lozon MMA.
It's pretty intense. You know, there's a lot of fighters there from all over. People come and they travel from all over the place. And, you know, we kind of get segregated. The big boys, you know, they pretty much are like anybody over 200 pounds. There's a side room, and they kind of stick us in there like a bunch of pit bulls and let us go at it. But it's every Saturday, man, I'm sparring with, you know, it's Mike Rodriguez, you know, guys like Ross Levine, Glory Kickboxing Champ, like that, you know. So I'm getting to work with guys like that every week. So, listen, Tebaris Gordon's not going to have any kind of a striking like Ross Levine. You know, it is what it is. He can say what he wants, but he's just not that good. And, so if I can get in there and hang with a guy like Ross on a Saturday, you know, trust me, I'm going to be ready.
How is Rodriguez doing right now? I know the fight last month didn't really go his way. He expected a lot more out of that fight. It happens. Yeah. It's the fight game. How's he handling everything?
He's fine. Mike's mentally a tough dude. Obviously he hurt his 2 front teeth, so he'll be sidelined for a little bit. But, you know, I expect Mike to come back strong, man. That kid's a beast. And, he's a fun, exciting fighter, and I think that's why the UFC likes him. Like you saw in the Contender Series, when he wins, man, it's exciting, man. He's one of those guys that, trust me, I hate sparring him. I had to spar him a lot for this last camp, and he's terrifying, man. The kid's got a crazy skill set, and just with his size and his attributes, he's tough to deal with. He's tough to deal with for anybody. On any given night, that kid can beat anybody.
What other guys or gals in the gym right now are you looking at that we may not know about yet that we should keep an eye on, in your opinion?
There's a lot of young kids, a lot of young amateurs that are fighting on Cage Titans. Mitch Raposo's a guy that's you're starting to hear about a lot now, but man, trust me, that kid is, skill set and talent wise, that kid's got it all. It's all about how hard that kid wants to work, and he wants it, but kids like him, it's like the next generation of guys. Like all that kid's done is MMA and wrestling. He never played any other sports, so that's like the next generation and the next wave of people that are coming into this. There's a lot of girls at Lausanne's. One of them, I believe, she's making her amateur debut. She's like 18 years old. She's been training for years. It's unbelievable. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of young up and comers that you're gonna see that are really good. There's a young kid out of Triforce, Tyreen, that's 2-0 on Cage Titans now. He actually fought a couple kids from Lausanne's, which is amateurs is kind of weird because I train on both teams. So, but there's a lot of young talent up and coming, and it's cool because you're seeing the amateurs get in and spar with a lot of the pros that are really good. So within the next few years, trust me, there's going to be a handful of people coming out of there that, a lot of people are going to look at and go, wow, like this kid's really good.
Must be pretty crazy to see how much this game has evolved over the years. I mean,
Crazy.
6, 7, 8-year-olds back, in our day. I mean, I'm 36 years old. We're playing t-ball, maybe playing some basketball, and now you got kids taking jiu-jitsu classes. They're taking boxing. 6, 7, 8 years old, and this happens a lot now. Has it been sort of crazy just seeing how quickly and how much this game has evolved over the years?
Oh, so listen, so when you go to Lausanne's on a Saturday, over in the right room, Joe Pomfret, who's pretty much the godfather of MMA, like he's the guy that got me into MMA. I saw his last MMA fight was the first fight I'd ever been to, and it's what got me into it because I was so excited about it. He's got a room full of kids, boys and girls, from a very young age that are, doing kickboxing and doing wrestling and doing jiu-jitsu. So it's, the next wave of talent. It's just crazy to see these kids that are this young, so instead of going to t-ball or soccer, these kids are going to, do martial arts in the morning. So it's pretty cool, man.
That is pretty cool. Next generation of guys and gals that you can coach moving up through the ranks.
It's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
Well, let's talk about you. How do you see this all going down January 24th? How does the belt stay around the illustrious waist of Greg Rebello at CES 60?
With me, I know Tebaris is a striker. Like I said, there's not much video on, but I try not to worry too much about what other people are going to do. It's more about me. If I go in there and establish my striking, it's just going to be a matter of time before I land something big. And that's pretty much how I always do it. I just try to fight smart, and I try not to make stupid mistakes. The Contender Series fights, I got a little bit lazy and I got caught. So that's pretty much been the biggest thing that I've worked on over the last year is just making sure that my defense is on point and I don't get lazy, and if I go in there and just fight my fight, it's going to be a good night for me.
I know you haven't made any decisions on anything as of yet in regards to your fighting career and whether, and whenever you decide to make that walk one final time, you don't know, could be 50, 55 years from now. Who the hell knows? You could be, in a walker making your way down to the cage. It may still happen, man. I mean, it just might happen. Like, that's just a part of who you are. Like, that's just who you are. You just never know. When that day does come, Greg, and you have that last fight, what do you want sort of your legacy to be as a fighter, and how do you hope to be remembered in that aspect? Have you thought about that at all, or is that kind of too soon to have that conversation with yourself?
Yeah, man, I don't know. I definitely haven't thought about that at all. I just think that, I would like to think that I've put on a lot of exciting fights on Access TV and Fight Pass that, people like to see me knock people out. And that's why I sell a lot of tickets to fights, is people enjoy watching me fight. And not only that is, I've never been that like kind of douchebaggy type of guy. I've always been just like a cool, humble dude, and, more of like a family guy. And on top of that is coaching, so I coach a lot of these guys, which I think people are excited to see, kind of that like transition from me being a fighter and going into a coach. And now they see me on TV coaching guys in the UFC. So I think a lot of people are really excited about that. You know what I mean? So I get a lot of feedback, not only when I fight, but honestly, I get more messages and stuff on social media from people when they see Randy Costa win by knockout, or when they see Calvin Kattar win by knockout. Like I get even more feedback from that. So it's pretty cool.
Before I got on with you, I called Vegas and I asked, what the over-under was on Jimmy Birchfield Sr.'s speech during the fight card. It's set at 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Over or under?
Oh my God, it's gonna be over that. Listen, if I can get Gary Belletto's dad to come into the crowd and hang out, that's gonna be far over 2 minutes and 45 seconds. I'll guarantee it.
Oh man, the legend of Ribz, Greg Rebello, continues on January 24th. CES 60 live on UFC Fight Pass, defending the CES heavyweight title against Tebaris Gordon. Always a fantastic night of fights for CES. If you're in the New England area, highly recommend you head on out to Twin River Casino. If not, streaming on UFC Fight Pass. Always a pleasure, Greg. Before we let you go, man, let the folks know where they can find and follow you on the web, social media, any shout-outs, anything else you want to get off your chest. The floor is yours.
Yeah, my Twitter is grebello73, and my Instagram is gribsmma23. Don't ask me why these numbers. I have no idea. But yeah, these people, I always put up a lot of training videos and a lot of cool, funny stuff for people to follow. So it's entertaining for everybody. So yeah, you can follow me on those and keep up with the career and the training of all these maniacs that I got in the arsenal, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. All the best to you on January 24th, and enjoy the Celtics tonight. You deserve it.
Oh, thanks, brother.
All right, man. Take care.